Welcome to Living Fullness, a podcast where two unusual friends explore all things friendships, relationships, and the Christian life. My name is Stina Constantine.
And I'm Father Sean Burns. And each month we bring you a guest, someone who will share their experience and strengths with us, helping us to learn, grow, and live life to the full.
Hello and welcome back to the Living Fullness podcast. Once a month we bring you a guest interview. If you think to yourself, gosh, Father Burns' voice sounds ridiculous, it does indeed. And that's because I have a bit of a cold. It's not COVID, thank goodness, but yes, there is a bit of a cold going on here. So we have a special guest with us, and that guest is Iva Mahoni, who is my niece. So it's lovely to have you with us, Iva.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, wonderful. So now, Iva, I already know your history because I was there. But Iva, could you share a little bit with us about your who you are?
Yeah.
Just, you're Iva Mahoni, and
Yeah. Well, and hi. Well, I'm from Albury, which is like in New South Wales, on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. And yeah, I'm Uncle Sean's niece. And yeah, I've been blessed to have been brought up in a Christian home, and yeah, it's been a really good journey thus far. So I come from a pretty musical family, I would say. So my parents met through in Albury. They probably change locations every year, I think. I don't know whether they did that, but Youth Expo. Was Youth Expo always in Albury?
yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
It was Youth 2002 before that, wasn't
Youth 2000 before, yeah.
Yeah.
So my parents helped organize or kind of establish that kind of thing. And they used to play music together. So my dad would play guitar and mum would sing at the youth expos and at mass. And yeah, those music always playing throughout the house all the time. A lot of old school Hillsong, which is really cool. Yeah, very sentimental kind of stuff. But yeah, which I feel like has molded a lot of who I am today, of course, as everybody's parents do. But yeah,
sure,
cool.
sure.
And yeah, music has been a huge part of my faith journey. So yeah, I'm happy to be on here and kind of talk to you.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty stoked to have you here. It's pretty special.
Exactly. And I mean, aside from the fact that you know, it's awesome to have like family on the podcast, I think one of the reasons why we were so keen to interview you is that you have a unique take on the way that music can affect the Christian heart, and we'd love to hear what you have to say about that. So, but before
we get into that, Yeah, before we get into that, you know, you said a moment ago before that, you know, it's kind of formed who you are today. And I guess for, you know, both your uncle and I, like we kind of know a little bit about, well, I know a little bit, your uncle knows much more about who you are. But for our guests who don't really know, like tell us a bit about who you are today. Like what does Iva Mahoni's day look like? What does her life look like?
Yeah, well, I'm a student. I'm in year 12. I'm doing my HSC at the moment. Today's actually our last day of holidays. Anzac Day. Is today. So, yeah, I mean, just study. I feel like I've been doing, I always find time for music, but lately it's just been go with study and stuff. I'm really behind. So hopefully my teachers don't watch this because I kind of pretend that I know what I'm talking about, but I really don't. So, yeah, I'm trying. It's exhausting. But yeah, that's my day is pretty much just school and yeah.
And you're HSC now, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, so that's the business end of schooling.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So sad.
And what have you been drawn into in terms of subjects for the HSC?
So I'm doing physics, chemistry, biology, 3-unit maths, and English.
Ooh.
which is it's
That's a
been
big-
Yowza.
an experience. Yeah,
It's an experience. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Oh, bless.
Can't wait for it to be over, but it's okay. Yeah,
You're almost there. You're almost there.
that's
Not long
right.
now.
Yeah, home run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess a good follow-up question for that too is, what are you hoping to do when you finish school? Like when you finish your HSC, what are you looking to?
Well,
Get
I
into.
mean, it's a question that I'm still kind of asking myself, but
Mm.
at the moment it's looking like I want to go into pharmaceutical science. But
Mm.
that's like my third career choice in the last 6 months, so it's
Okay.
probably gonna change.
Mm.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And there's so nothing wrong with that. Like there is
I know.
nothing wrong with that.
Right. Yeah. I keep telling myself that I think it's important for people my age to understand that, like, we're so young. Like, there's no rush. Like, I've got time, which I'm really grateful for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put it into
Absolutely.
perspective. Yeah.
How did you learn that?
I mean, it's convenient to tell myself in like
Yep.
times like these. But you know, speaking to some of my teachers who didn't begin teaching until like the kind of middle-aged kind of stage of life, and you know, how many times does the average person change careers? Like 3 times or something?
A lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that. So yeah, I'm just trying to take pressure off myself.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the
that's-
stats at the
great.
moment, I think the stats at the moment has that the person, an adult at the moment, because the trends have changed, an adult at the moment changes careers or changes jobs every 3 to 5 years or 3 to 7 years or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I don't know.
That's really awesome, because the last time that I remember having a kind of conversation with you about this, there was a great sense of like, I have to know, and I can waste no time.
Yeah.
You know, and so
it feels that way though, because like, especially like in the school environment, it's kind of like this needs to be done by this time and all of these deadlines, and you think, you know, if I don't know what I'm going to do, like I'm just going to sit around for the rest of my life, when that's really not the case.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
exactly.
Well done. That's a mature thing to arrive at. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Serious wisdom. So you told us a little bit before about your parents. Tell us about the rest of your
Yeah.
family. I know you've got some siblings as well.
Yeah. So I have 2 younger siblings. So Zach, who is 16, and Shauna, who is 15. So we're all really close together. I'm really close with them. Our relationship is pretty good. Yeah, they're really great.
That's a big statement.
Yeah, no,
Our
yeah. I mean,
relationship
I don't
is
say
pretty
that
good.
every day. Yeah. Well, at the moment, our relationship is pretty good. After this interview, it might not be. No, but they're really good to be around. So, I mean, you'd hope so because we live together. But
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fortunate. That's fortunate.
yeah,
Yeah.
What do you guys love to do together?
annoy each other. I don't know. What do we? We kind of just sit around and talk. You know.
Just hang out?
Yeah, we're pretty simple. We eat a lot. Yeah. So it's pretty fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I can attest to this. I was home last week.
Oh.
And my sister's like, if there's anything that you'd like to stay in the pantry, don't put it in the pantry. Just hide it somewhere. So
Yeah, but it's like, it's not just me, it's a joint effort.
exactly. It is a joint effort. It really is. The three of you together are sort of, a food eating unit. It's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
Yeah, they're growing.
Good times.
You've got to
That's
put,
right.
Got to
That's
put
right.
food in
Exactly.
there. How else do
Exactly.
you grow?
Exactly. I love it though when you sort of, I see you go to the pantry. I see all three of you go to the pantry and you look in there and you're like, yeah, and you close the door and then you go back with the expectation that something that you didn't see was going to be there.
See,
It's like, maybe if I close the door and open it again.
It's not a box of Tim Tams. What's
it's
going
not
on?
It's not the expectation that something different will be there. It's the expectation that our standards have lowered a little bit.
That's brilliant. So with every door closed, does the standard get lower? Is that how it works? Yeah, nice. I should try this.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, you can try.
Oh, dear. At the start of this episode, you talked to us about how you grew up in a Christian household. Talk to us a little bit about your faith journey.
Yeah. So cradle Catholic, which I'm blessed to have, been born into a household that that taught me, about God. But I think, one of the things that I feel strengthened my faith a lot was, I guess, my parents. They're kind of something that I feel strengthened my faith in a lot of ways was my parents' attitude towards parenting, and I guess allowing myself and my siblings to take credit of our own actions and allowing us to make mistakes and teaching us about God, but kind of enabling us to establish our own relationship with God rather than kind of my parents kind of pushing this kind of, this is how you worship and this is what you do and all these things, which of course we do have those established ways of worship like the Mass and Rosary. But I feel like I've really gotten the chance to kind of connect with God in my own individual way because I am an individual, I'm not just kind of a sub branch of my parents in that kind of way. So that definitely strengthened my faith. But of course, through life, you encounter these barriers. And I think one of the most, not detrimental, but, one of the greatest struggles I've encountered along the way is kind of, I guess, just lifestyle, like just being lazy. Cause like what Father Mike Schmidt says, the day after you don't read your Bible is the hardest day to do so, or something like that along those lines. And I feel like that's been kind of like the phrase that represents my entire life so far is kind of like, I guess just being lazy. Like being lazy is such like I feel like it's an overlooked aspect of the faith. Like it's such a simple thing. Like take 5 minutes out of your day to pray instead of going and doing something pointless. And it will enhance your faith life greatly, even though it doesn't seem like it's such kind of a significant thing. It is. And that's something that I've learned through the short time that I've been here, I guess. Yeah, I guess just our life is full of distractions, especially in this era, like technology. And technology can be used in great ways, but it's just, I feel like in my life personally, it's such a distraction from school, from God, from my family. So as far as improving my faith, I feel like kind of removing myself from those things is probably the most helpful thing, I guess, in enhancing my faith. Yeah.
Two questions that come out of that for me. One is a practical. You've identified there that technology can be a real challenge, despite that in itself being a blessing and a gift to us and very useful. I mean, even look at the way that we're recording this episode, right? We're utilizing technology in that. So I guess how are you finding the balance between utilizing technology well, but also not letting it become a distraction for you in your relationship with God?
I think the kind of baseline thing about it is to kind of reflect and make sure that I'm not looking at technology as God, because I feel like that is the case for a lot of us. today, even if we don't realize it. And I think that was me for a minute. So I think as long as I'm reflecting and I truly feel that me utilizing technology isn't distracting myself from God, or I guess making sure that I'm putting prayer first before I guess just scrolling for hours, because not only is it bad for your faith, it's bad for like your health too. Like I'm like once I got a phone, and I like for the first few months it was just like I had to have it on me everywhere, and like I would scroll forever. Like it was terrible, and you don't even realize how much it's kind of a part of your life. And like I remember I left my phone somewhere one day, and I got home, and it was like I didn't know what to do with myself. I don't have my phone. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm just sitting here doing nothing. Like, go outside. Like, look at nature. Like, and a lot can be observed of God from looking at nature. And you know, yeah, I guess just making sure technology isn't God. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And the second question was, you said there that one of the things that your parents really helped you and your siblings is giving you the opportunity to make your own decisions and choices and make your own mistakes and have your own personal relationship with God. So I guess tell us a little bit about what that relationship looks like for you.
Yeah. So like, for instance, I guess when it comes to confession, so my parents, whenever we go to mass, they'll always encourage us to go to confession and things like that, because they understand that, I guess, you're lying. Like when it comes to, I feel like when it comes to the openness between children and their parents, for a lot of children, they'll say that like there's a lot of things that they keep from their parents, which is sad. And I feel that the way that my parents have raised us kind of gives us, I guess it makes us feel comfortable to come to our parents and say, this is the mistake I've made. And they're not going to like lecture us about it, like how, like, because they know that we feel bad ourselves already. And they leave that between myself and between God. And they understand that, that, we're not little kids, we understand the importance of our faith. And, I guess they don't want to take from that by being really forceful about it, because, faith becomes less about your own relationship with God when it's kind of just something that, you go to mass because your parents tell you to, or you sit and say your prayers because your parents tell you to. And I'm not saying the parents shouldn't encourage their children to do that, but I mean, I'm not even qualified to speak on it because I'm not a parent, but I'm a child. But I guess the importance that they've indicated throughout our upbringing of our individual relationship with God is just something that I'm so grateful for, that they've done for us. Yeah. Did that answer your question? I was rambling and then I forgot what your question actually was.
Very, very good rambling.
Yeah, it was
Right,
good.
yeah.
It was solid.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably also talk about, this one big thing that big talent that you've been given, that you've been blessed with. Like share with us, if you like, about what inspires you to be, to be in music. Like what inspired you to start writing? Because you write your own songs as well. Like,
Yeah.
tell us, like, talk to us a bit about what music looks like for you and what inspires that for you.
Yeah. Music is everything. Like, to me, music is the language of God, and it's how I see God. And I think everybody has their own element of the world in which, you know, they look at something and they feel God's presence. Like for some people, it's nature. For some people, it might be the universe, like space. For me, it's music. And, okay, so the first time that I was kind of exposed to music ministry, besides my parents playing at youth expos and stuff, was in 2016. And it was the first Chosen Youth event. And it was held here in Albury. And Genevieve Bryant came. And she's this fantastic musician, and she like goes around and sings about Jesus. And I was able to sing with her, and just seeing her on stage, like she was anything but self-serving. And I think that that's what music has become in like the kind of industry part of it. But just seeing her up there, she was serving her audience and she was serving God. And I think that that's a beautiful reminder of, you know, I think as musicians, it's really easy, and I've fallen into this trap many times. It's really easy to make music like selfish and kind of, you know, every extra chord, every extra note, every run, it can't be selfish, you know, because you're polluting it. It's not music in its purest form anymore. And like Clark Beckham talks about it. He's a really brilliant musician, and he's a Christian. And he speaks about how music is the most supernatural, natural thing that God has given us here on earth. And to kind of pollute it with, you know, your own, I don't want to say showing off, but, you know, that's what it can become. And it's really easy to fall into that. And, you know, Callie Day, she is an incredible, incredible gospel singer, one of the best voices I think I've ever heard. And if anybody wanted to show off, she could. She's got an incredible voice. But when you hear her sing, and, you know, you just know that it's just her and God up there. And I think that that's a really important part of music. And it's something that I saw demonstrated by my parents growing up. I mean, music, it's the language of God. Like you can't pollute it with your own kind of selfish agenda. I don't know. It's, you know, and the feeling of demonstrating that, and the feeling of being able to communicate with God in that way is just, there's nothing like it.
That's really cool.
That's so beautiful.
The language of God. I really like that. That's yeah.
It is.
That's
It
really,
is.
really
it's the language
beautiful.
of God. Yeah.
And the fact that it's also based, and for me to admit this is a big thing. It's based on mathematics. Like music has a mathematical undertone to it. You know, that when mathematicians say that maths is the language of God, really they're saying that music is the language of God, aren't they? I mean, that's you know, I hate maths. So that's a big thing for me to say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, yeah. I agree
No,
with you.
right. Okay. Well, that's really, really beautiful. So, you know, you have this language of God that you love to, that you find yourself able to share. Where do you share it and how? Like what sort of events or things do you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm not so much anymore because study has kind of not enabled me to be at a specific mass every single week. But Mum and I, a few years ago, we used to do the music for the Laguna Parish, Immaculate Heart of Mary. And we did that for a pretty long time. And then I often sang at Mass at St. Patrick's in Albury, which was really nice. I write my own music, which is cool. So I sing at weddings and stuff like that. And even like at venues and stuff, I just do like little like Sunday sesh kind of things, which is really good because even if, you know, your audience doesn't come from a Christian background, whether or not you are religious, music has an effect on you. And the way that I like to think of it is that people who feel music, they feel God, but they just don't recognize that that's his presence. Yeah. So I think, you know, music, whether, you know, the music that you're singing is Christian music or it's secular music, there will always be a way for you to serve God in doing that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So whether you're performing at the SSNA club or at somebody's wedding, you see in there a way to communicate the language of God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
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 So are you hoping to be able to continue to pursue music ministry?
Yeah, I hope so. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, it would definitely be an opportunity that I'd like to pursue. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
And you've mentioned there was some challenges, and given the culture that we have right now, which is increasingly becoming more and more anti-Christian, like, do you have any thoughts about where music fits into that space and where music ministry fits into that space? Like, even if it's just like comments around some things that might be challenging or some things that might be like particular things that might be important, like areas for music ministry to enter into or to be open to?
Well, I think the first thing, I guess, is kind of highlighting the importance of the music itself rather than the who's making the music, I guess. Because, you know, you look around today and, you know, the way that people idolize musicians, I think the first step into getting to that stage is to bring people back to the music itself, you know. And it sounds kind of cliche or whatever, but once you I guess kind of highlight the understanding as to the feeling behind music and what that feeling is and where that feeling comes from, being God, I think it'll be a step in the right direction. But I mean, it's difficult. We're in such a just unprecedented times when we look at kind of, you know, the music industry, especially in America. You know, I kind of don't know where to start, like, as far as, you know, but I think it begins in our own lives. I think, you know, the first step is changing people's hearts first before, and I think that the industry will naturally fix itself from there. But, you know, it's just, yeah, it's difficult. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah. There's some really just full of wisdom, Eva. It's just full of wisdom. It's one of the things that makes me go to Padre all the time. Like, what is with that girl? Like, she's just like, all this wisdom. It's so beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So, if given the, like, you've just sort of outlined for us the some of the beauty that you see in music, and you've also outlined some of the challenges that you see in the present industry. Given that, if somebody came to you and said, you know, Eva, I'm looking at starting out as a musician, what advice would you give them?
I mean, like, do you mean like writing stuff like in their own home, or do you mean like performing?
Do I mean like
performing? Like what I do?
Yeah, so performing. Yeah.
Within the context of ministry.
Within the context of the ministry, yeah. And even in the context of, yeah.
Yeah. I guess a really important thing to do before you enter into that is like a really deep self-reflection as to what your purpose is when singing, and to really assure yourself that, and I mean, not everyone's perfect and everybody's going to fall into the self-serving trap, but it's important that you outline your purpose to serve God, and to be completely, unselfish when it comes to, I guess, communicating your music to other people, when you're performing for other people. If you're not self-serving and your purpose is to serve God, you really can't go wrong.
How, as a follow-up to that, how might I guard against that self-servingness?
It sounds a little weird, but listen. I think it's really easy to tell when you're singing whether that little extra chord or this extra note is serving the music or is it serving you. When you sing that, are you singing because you want to make an impression on this person or that person, or are you singing in that specific way because it will serve the song and in turn serve God? It's a process, and it's something that you need to practice. But yeah, I think you constantly need to be asking yourself those questions, and it's really, just listening with your ears, listening to the song, but listening with your heart as to whether what you're doing is serving to God. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. That was a top-notch answer. That was good.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And I guess as a final question there then, where can people find your music?
Well, I've got stuff on Spotify, or you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I post some music on there sometimes.
And what are the handles that people can go and look out for?
I think most of them are at Iva Mahoni.
Awesome.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's Iva Mahoni with an I, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. I say is it. I know that it is.
Is
but
it?
I'm just like,
What do you mean, is it? Some uncle, honestly.
I know.
Oh, it's okay. We'll add some of your handles to our description of the episode as well for people to be able to click on.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Eva, thank you for coming on today. Thank you for being with us and for sharing such a beautiful part of your life with the people who listen to the podcast, and thank you for being the example that you are as well. And it's really fantastic. And you're a wonderful niece too. So thank you for that.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me. Thank you.
It's been wonderful, and we'll definitely put some social media handles down below if anybody's wanting to. Well, we recommend that you all go and click on Eva's music because it's awesome, and I don't do the wrapping up, so I
that's okay. Just take a breath. So we will also continue to have a chat with Eva today over on our Patreon page for those of you who would like to join us over there. Eva's going to share a little bit about her writing process and what that looks like. So if you're interested in that, jump over and join one of the higher tiers and you'll be able to see some behind the scenes with Eva today. But I guess to finish off with, as always, we have a bit of a rapid fire with our guests. So just the first thing that comes to mind as we ask these random questions of you, Eva.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
First one is tea or coffee?
Tea.
Very good.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. Yep.
Go. This is not much of a rapid fire if you're not on it.
This is a slow fire. One place you want to travel and why?
Tonga, to learn more about my culture.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
What's something you're terrified of?
Heights.
Oh,
I'm really scared of
okay.
heights.
Who is your holy or saintly crush?
St. Thomas More.
Yeah, boom. That was nice and quick.
Yeah, easy.
Good answer.
Yeah.
She's definitely your niece.
Yeah.
Who is one of your favorite artists or composers?
Mac Ayres.
Okay.
Very cool. Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind the song
Oh, please don't say that.
ISBTOH? I'm kidding. It's okay. Don't answer.
Oh, it was a joke.
Don't
Oh,
answer
good.
it. It's okay.
I was like,
It's okay. Don't
please
answer
don't
it.
say it. Please don't
Don't
say it.
answer it.
Please don't say it.
I'm just messing with you. It's all right.
Poor thing, she
what's-
nearly
Not
died
funny.
there. Gosh.
What's your favorite? The real question. The real question is, what's your
Okay.
favorite song that you've composed so far, and why?
Oh, what do you want? And it's because I feel like it's really honest. Well, it's an honest depiction of what I was feeling at the time. And honesty is always the way to go.
Excellent. Very, very cool. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that I had you there for a second, didn't I?
My heart was beating so fast. You have no idea. I was like, please don't say the song I think you're going to say. Please don't say it. Please don't say it.
The look of horror on your face.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you know what's going to happen now, though? Everyone's going to ask.
They'll never get an answer. Sorry.
Oh, bless.
So, Stina.
Hi.
Hi, Eva.
Hi.
See, both of your names are 2 syllables long. That's the problem. Eva, thank you so much for joining us today, and as you move forward in your life, particularly as you start to move towards the next stage of your life after the HSC, please know that we're praying for you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that.
No
I'll be
worries
praying
at
for
all.
both of you as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
No
you.
worries.
And thank you to everyone who's joined us over on our YouTube channel or listened wherever you might have been listening to our podcast. We love having you each and every week, and we hope that you've enjoyed having Eva on our show this week. And until next time, as always, know of our love and prayers.
God bless.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on Living Fullness. We hope that in this episode there was something useful or helpful, or something that blessed your life. If that is the case, would you please consider sharing this podcast with someone? Perhaps it will bless their lives too.
Please also subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. That will also help others to find the podcast too. And join us over on our social media, Living Fullness on Instagram and Virtue Ministry on Facebook.